With Harvey, it quickly intensified into a Category 4 storm. The issue with Harvey was, number one, it was a major hurricane at a Category 4, so it not only caused that damage, but then when it moved inland, it just stalled out, and it sat there and rained and rained and rained for days, and that's what caused all the flooding.
Hurricane Harvey caused great damage in Houston, Texas, but it also hit close to home. Reporter Patty Smith talks to one of her friends who lived through the storm.
One of my dear friends, Courtney, had to evacuate her flooded house at 2 in the morning. She lost her dog and had to wait on the roof for a helicopter rescue. I found a bed at the end of our street. There's snakes and all kind of animals too.
Father Ricardo Bailey told us if Holy Innocents was helping those in Houston, Texas.
The school is. I sent out a push page asking anybody who is interested or feels so moved to give money as a result of the hurricane and the flood in Houston, Texas, to use the Episcopal Relief Services as the main conduit for that money to go into, so that the monies can go directly to the victims and anybody affected by the flooding in Houston, Texas.
Whenever there is a natural disaster such as a hurricane, a lot of stuff happens that goes into research and tracking the storm. We're always informed by the news of what is coming next and what to be prepared for. 11 Alive's chief meteorologist Chris Holcomb told me about all the technology and resources used to track hurricanes, as well as predicting storms and where they're headed next.
From this satellite data, we can take this, it's taking pictures every few minutes, and we can take this and put it into a movie to determine the animation or where this is going to go. But we also have computer models that also give us information, and the National Hurricane Center, this is the official forecast track for them, showing this storm that's going to be moving along the islands, potentially pushing in close to Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and then maybe moving into the Bahamas as a Category 4 storm. That is their forecast track based on what they're seeing from other computer models that they're getting. So a lot of the computer models that we have, there are tons of them out there, and they'll show different directions, but we look for a consensus of those models to determine what way that we think the storms are going to go, and not even the direction of the storm, but also the intensity of the storm as well.
As Hurricane Harvey was a Category 4 storm, I wanted to know what goes into ranking these hurricanes.
So that's based on the Saffir-Simpson scale right here, and it is a wind, and it's based on wind and pressure, and this is how we rank categories, where 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest category of a hurricane. So a Category 1 shows dangerous winds between 74 and 95 miles an hour, and you get some storm surge with that. When you get to a Category 2, that's winds between 96 and 110 miles an hour, and that's when you start getting more storm surge with that, and of course those stronger winds. Once you get to a Category 3, that is actually classified as what we call a major hurricane with maximum sustained winds at 111 to 129 miles an hour. You also get a lot of storm surge coming in off of the ocean too. Then a Category 4 between 130 and 156 miles an hour. Anything higher than that is a Category 5. You see the house that just blew away there, trees fall over, a lot of storm surge with that as well. So the categories are based on this scale, and it's mainly based on winds, but they also look at the pressure of that as well to help determine those categories too.
Since the time of this interview, Irma has moved from a Category 4 storm to a Category 5 storm. Meteorologist Chris Holcomb showed me the path Irma is going to take.
So right now we can watch the winds with Irma, and we're watching the wind flow around those that'll be impacting those islands and then moving up closer to us. The spaghetti models here, this is a look at all those models that I was telling you about, shows there's that consensus of it coming in here. We expect this to make a hard right turn. This is what you see in that modeling data, and so that's when the folks in South Florida really need to be paying close attention to this if it makes that hard right turn and slams into them. If it doesn't make that turn, it goes into the Gulf, or if it turns a little bit earlier, then it just skims the coastline of Florida. And I know a lot of people are looking at these lines right here wondering if that will actually move up into Atlanta. So everybody along the East Coast needs to pay close attention to this.
As of right now, Hurricane Irma has been upgraded to a Category 5 storm. It is the most powerful Atlantic Ocean hurricane recorded in history. It is quickly moving through and will have devastating damage at winds of 185 miles an hour. Make sure we do our best to send help and do all we can to help with Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma. For WHIS, I'm Ben Brown.